let's make lemonade. Okay. Let's go to work.
Stop!
That's the signal! Go!
Go! Six!
It's beautiful!
Mother Nature just pissed her pants, dude!
Start your day with a jolt of energy and no-holds-barred opinions. This is The Rush, where Travis Justice and Ross Peterson bring you bold, unfiltered, and uncensored takes on sports, life, and everything in between. Buckle up and let's go.
Happy Monday and welcome to the Rush Radio Show powered by Willis Automotive. Good to have you along. Before we get started today, a couple things. Make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Give this video a like. Also, set up your notifications. That way you know right away when we go live. So set your notifications, like the page or like the video, and, of course, subscribe to the YouTube channel. You can follow us on X at Rush Mornings. You can like our Facebook page. Just search The Rush with Travis and Ross. And new, and it got used a little bit over the weekend, you can follow us on Instagram. Just search The Rush Radio Show. At the Des Moines studio is Ross Peterson. In the Santa Fe mobile studio, I'm Travis Justice. Happy Monday, Roscoe Pico.
Hey, buddy. How you doing?
You know what? It's been we got away for the weekend, and it's been a great just weekend trip. And my wife and I were talking about why don't we do this more often, right? Just leave like on a Thursday, come back on a Monday, extend your weekends a little bit. But this was a new part of the country that I've never been to. I've driven through New Mexico before, but never really spent any time in New Mexico.
Yeah, me too.
And I'm in love with Santa Fe. This is it's a liberal town. I mean, it's liberal.
Well, can we stop right there for just a second?
Yes.
I want to know all about this because you're with one of my favorite people, and you're doing some really cool stuff that you literally did some bucket list items that I didn't even know. But you say it's a liberal city. What do you mean? What were your indications or what?
Just, very artsy-fartsy, just very granola-ish. It's you get the feel, and nothing wrong with it. I feel welcomed here. I feel great. It's just
you. By the way, the things that you just describe some of your kids. Very artsy. I mean, but so yeah, it's not an insult. Yeah.
No, it's not an insult. It's just a completely different vibe than Des Moines or Omaha or in the Midwest. And it is. I talked to somebody at a farmer's market on Saturday, and she's like, "I've been here 25 years," and she goes, "We retired here." She goes, "You can't make a living here. It's impossible to make a living here because I go of the people who do live here. What do they do? 80% of the Santa Fe population is employed by the government. So remember, this is the state capital. And so you have one of the most unassuming capitals I've ever seen, and Santa Fe is the capital of New Mexico because it's a very unassuming capital.
Dude, I'm so bad on state capitals. I know Des Moines. Des Moines is the state capital of Iowa.
Yeah, because when you see the capital in Des Moines, you go, "That's a capital." Here, you're like, "Is that a strip mall?" Yeah, I mean, you literally go, "Is that a strip mall?" And then 40 minutes away is the Los Alamos lab, where a lot of stuff takes place that we don't know about at Los Alamos. And you have a lot of engineers and people who live in Santa Fe that make that drive every single day to go into a place where you need a badge. You need a badge to get into Los Alamos. All
right, so I've got a ton of notes already.
Okay.
I want to know so much about this. First of all, good on you for going to the farmer's market, man. That's a vacation wonder hack right there, where you want to get into a culture, you want to know a place, you want to meet people. Good job getting to the farmer's market.
Well, and the cool part was because it was a little colder, it snowed a lot here yesterday on Friday and Saturday.
I did see your video actually of some snow down there.
Yeah,
okay.
It snowed. So they have an indoor farmer's market that takes place every Saturday and Sunday on one side, and it's two-sided. It's in the rail yard district, and on one side is like the food and the produce. And then on the other side is like arts and crafts and all that other stuff. So it's not all intertwined together. You got food and produce on one side, arts and crafts on another. That was
you
really
like that?
Cool. I did.
It makes it a little easier.
Yes.
Okay.
Because sometimes you go to a farmer's market and you want your certain produce, right? You know what you want. You go to the same stand all the time, but you got to like weave in and out of art and
See, that's
and,
so funny. I love that. That's what I love most about farmers market is that randomness of like what's next.
Now, probably the number one produce that we saw here, mushrooms. People sell a lot of mushrooms here.
Now you said it in a way that was like,
well, the health benefits of mushrooms. I mean, which are plenty. I don't know if you've ever watched that documentary on Netflix about
fungus?
Mushrooms. Fungi or something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
But I'm not talking the hallucinogens, but there's a lot of people selling mushrooms.
See, the way you said it, the way you went.
Oh, I know.
Mushrooms?
Because you're like, there's a mushroom stand every like 5 feet. You're like, man, there must be something about mushrooms I don't really know. But I saw a lion's mane.
You could learn. You could learn.
You're
I
right.
could help. I mean, you could learn.
But so that was a good time. And then I also met. So there's so many artists here, right? And this girl was wearing a Savannah, Georgia sweatshirt. I go, "Are you from Savannah?" She goes, "Yeah, I went to SCAD." I go, "Funny that you should say that because my daughter's getting ready to go there." And she goes, "Yeah, I loved it. I lived off campus." And then I walk outside, and there she is with a little pop-up store on the rail yard. I go, "Oh."
So you had to buy something from her.
No, didn't buy anything from her because her art wasn't my type of art. It just wasn't. It was like drawings of cartoon characters, and that's not my type of art. So I could have bought something just to be nice, but I'm never going to see her again, so I'm not going to buy anything. But then I thought, well, 4 years of school, and now you're in Santa Fe with a pop-up store. Are we making the right decision? Yeah. Of course, she walks in the coffee shop, and she's selling her art out in the parking lot, and she's got a bearded dragon. So she's carrying around because this was the spectrum of the pets we were talking about last week. Right? Remember?
What do you mean she had a bearded dragon?
A lizard. She had a lizard.
On her shoulder, like a live.
Yeah, carrying it around like it's
When you said that, Trav, I thought you meant like there was like a logo. She had like an embroidered logo.
No,
and that told you she was Slytherin or something. I was like, what the hell does this mean?
No, it was a real bearded dragon lizard, just carried and had a little collar on it with a leash that kept it attached to her shoulder.
Shut up.
I'm dead serious. Dead serious. I didn't know you could put a collar with a tiny chain leash.
I'm sorry. You are trying too hard. You're trying way too hard to show people how weird and interesting and creative and how much character you've got. How much character do I have? I've got a bearded dragon on a leash on my shoulder. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. No, she was really nice. It's just you popped.
I'm sure she was very nice, and you know what? Her personality cut through all of that stuff, right?
Yes. But we had the discussion of the spectrum of when it comes outside of cats and dogs of where you fall. And lizards was like, okay, you're getting to the point where if you have snakes and lizards and stuff, you might be a little weird.
Listen, I'm just being honest here. I judge people when they have snakes or lizards or mice as pets. In fact, Trav, really, you go outside of those three things that we've talked about. Cats, dogs, fish, which aren't pets. They're not pets, but cats and dogs. And then there are farm animals. And those all, I obviously, that seems completely sane to me. But
and
to
farm
have
animals aren't pets, right? I mean, if you have a llama, pets. No, they're livestock.
That exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
So then yesterday we went up to Bandelier National Monument, and I didn't know what I was getting into. This was a national park, and this is where the Pueblo people lived. And Ross, I walked. We did a trail, and you go up into the cave dwellings, and so you see. The paintings on the walls where they would paint like people and birds and animals. And then basically these cliffs are basically in an apartment complex within the hills, right? Within this cliff Well, we got to where you could climb a ladder to get up in one of them, and it was a long line. And I'm like, oh, I don't want to wait in line. And somebody said, well, there's another one just down the road a little bit. We get there, and it was closed because had been vandalized. Somebody didn't understand you weren't supposed to, do graffiti on the inside of a cave dwelling. I don't know what people are thinking sometimes. Well, then we get done, and they're like, well, if you want to go to Enclave House, take a right. It's another mile up the trail. We get there, and to go up into this cave dwelling is a 140-foot climb, basically straight up on ladders. Now, I went through my ladder thing last week. I don't like ladders. And one of these ladders was probably about a 30-foot ladder. Now,
did you do it?
Oh,
is
yes.
that the picture?
Yes.
Dude, that is awesome. Way to go, man.
Anjanette and I both did.
No way.
Yeah.
140 foot, not
climb.
one, and again, not one ladder that was 140 feet.
No, so you would take steps. You went up 4 or 5 ladders. I think the shortest ladder was probably 15 feet. The tallest ladder was maybe 30 or 40 feet.
Whoa, that's a long climb.
And we're not talking about a ladder that you and I are thinking about. This is old school. This is like 2 wooden posts with wood in the middle.
Did you have a safety harness on or something? You're kidding me.
No safety harness. And it says you go at your own risk. You go at your own risk.
And then you had to come back down too?
Yes, I had to come back down. Coming back down was probably the harder part. And all I did, Ross, was close my eyes, one step at a time. I didn't try to go too fast.
Yeah.
I would go one step, one step. And after we got done, we're so happy we did it.
Yeah, like everything like that. Yeah. I saw you sent a picture to me. You sent a couple photos to me. One was you and Pat standing outside of the old guard shack at Los Alamos.
Yes.
And I noticed that you both had your hiking shoes on. And I was like, oh, that was my indication. I was like, they're getting into something.
Yeah, so we started at Bandelier. We did the hike, and then we were so close to Los Alamos, I'm like, we have to go see. And so we went in the back way to Los Alamos, and all of a sudden we come up to this guard shack. I'm like, well, I got to get permission to go into town, pull up, and there's a military guy sitting there, right? And he goes, I'm just going into town. I want to see the museum and stuff. He goes, that's fine. I need your identification. I was like, okay. Give it to him. He goes, here's the rules. To get into town, you're driving through government property. I said, okay. He goes, do not take a right-hand turn, ever. He goes, do not take a right-hand turn. I said, okay. He goes, and don't you dare take your camera out and take pictures of things to your right, because that's the lab, the big lab, the nuclear lab, right? So they warn you, don't take a right-hand turn. You'll get in trouble. And don't take your camera out and take a picture of things to your right.
Holy cow. I understand how they'd know if you took a right turn. How would they know if you took a picture?
They wouldn't, but you know what, Ross? I shouldn't say they wouldn't, because as you come in, the property of Los Alamos and the lab is extensive, and the fence that surrounds it that comes in, there's things that say cameras everywhere and do not enter explosives. So we're like, do you have landmines planted out there to where if somebody jumps the fence, you're just going to blow them up? I mean, that's how crazy it is.
I didn't realize the entire town was, because when you said that, I was thinking, oh, you went to the military base.
The entire town, just our entrance, because he says, you'll be fine. You're going to go about a mile and a half, and you're going to go by more guard shacks like this. Once you're out of there, you're
okay.
fine.
You just kind of like clipped the little bottom of the mill. Okay, that makes sense.
Yes.
I thought maybe I thought the whole town was inside of a military.
No. But then we drove up and saw where Oppenheimer lives, and that was pretty cool. And then we went to the Visitors Museum, where I sent you a text. I did not know Ames, Iowa, and Iowa State University was part of the Manhattan Project. and because they have a map of everybody that was involved with the Manhattan Project. Of course, Los Alamos is probably the most famous because that's where everybody gathered.
And it's not dozens of cities.
No.
It's a handful, and Ames, Iowa is on the list.
Yeah, so I go, what happened in Ames? And the park ranger said, well, hold on for a second. She got out this sheet. She goes, oh, that's where they purified the uranium that was on the bomb that dropped in Hiroshima. I'm like, I did not know that. I had no clue that took place in Ames, Iowa. I was shocked by it. And that's why I sent you a text, because you're the history buff. I said, did you know this stuff took place in Ames? And you're like, it rang a bell, but you
I couldn't. I wouldn't have remembered the uranium part of it. I wouldn't have remembered what the specifics of it were. I thought it had more to do with the computer thing. That, because Ames was more the place where the computer was invented. Yeah. And I hate to use the air quotes like that, but I mean, it was obviously a kind of like the Manhattan Project. But I thought if you would have made me guess, I would have put those two together, and that wouldn't have been the same. So very, very cool. Okay, so the bucket list thing for me that you did was going to those pueblos in Bandelier. Though, like, I've always seen those things. So, Trav, did they talk about why those people dug into the side of the mountain like that? Like, was it a survival? I mean, obviously it was a survival thing, but did they say when that happened or why?
Oh, that was like in 1000 AD. I think it was. I mean, I'm not one to do tours. You and I.
I'll call Pat.
Yeah, call Pat. You call Pat and he'll tell you. But I mean, basically, because even below you had communes and there was ruins and stuff. But basically, it is survival too, right? You go up high to protect yourself at night, because when invaders come, they got to figure out a way to get up, and if they do get up, they're going to be absolutely exhausted, so you'll be able to beat the crap out of them. So,
wow.
And there was a volcano there several thousand years ago that was 600 times, I do remember this because I read the plaque, it was like 600 times bigger explosion than Mount St. Helens. So that's how massive this was.
My goodness.
But it formed those kind of cliffs to where you could dig into it. It's like really soft sandstone, so you could go into it and create these dwellings. And I'm telling you, you see all of them, and you're like, man, that was just basically an apartment complex inside a hill, because you could see where they connected, all the windows, and then you're like, see all these holes. Well, they had wood they would put roofs on their apartments, so you could see where they engineered, drilled holes, had wood that would act as a roof. People were just a lot smarter back then. I wouldn't have been able to do
absolutely.
Like that.
That's why those ancient civilization things fascinate me. They were way smarter than we give them credit for. Way smarter. All right, Cole wants to know, on a scale of 1 to 10, how cowboy is Travis? He says, I see some cowboy qualities. He looked pretty natural in that hat. Yeah, that's what I said to him, too. When he sent me the picture, I said, you look really natural in that hat.
Listen, my wife is not a cowboy hat type of person, right? But when I put it on, she goes, I hate to say it, you look good in the cowboy hat. You look good in the cowboy hat. So I went ahead and got the cowboy hat.
Can we?
And I'm gonna
go ahead. Sorry.
And I'm gonna wear it home on the plane today. I'm gonna show up back home with a cowboy hat on.
It looks so natural in Omaha.
I will.
Can we talk about hats for a second?
Sure.
Some people are hat people.
Yes.
You wear a cowboy hat and you look good, right?
I wear a lot of hats.
Why do I look so weird when I put on a hat? My head looks like it goes... I look like Abe Lincoln. Like it. My forehead's too big. I don't like hats. Can we just shut the cameras off?
Was Mark Charter trying to get you to wear that during your?
No,
podcast?
That was my idea. It was my idea. I was like, oh, I'm gonna get me a hat. And I put it on. I'm like, no, no, I'm not.
Maybe it's because it's just not natural to wear one like inside too, right? If you're outside, you're at a farmer's market, it's sunny, you're like, okay, got a hat on. You're inside, you're like, okay, now you're just doing it for pandering purposes. Just a thought.
Very cool weekend, man. I'm glad you had so much fun. That's an awesome trip.
Yeah, so, and it's been nice to be able to sit up here. So we get back from the hike yesterday. I'm exhausted. We're ready to go. We open a bottle of wine in the room, and I pop on. I'm like, I was up 4 at half. I'm like, okay, I can watch the second half of the Iowa game.
You're
and
the
so
one.
I pop on the YouTube TV, got it on my phone, sitting here drinking a bottle of wine, eating some cheese, and I watch Maryland down 51-47. Go on a 24-3 run or something like that to start the second half, and it was over quickly. I mean, and Ross, it was just like it was like a Mike Tyson early fight first round knockout to start that second half. I mean, it was like boom, 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 over.
I ended up watching the whole thing, and there were some really interesting things that were said later on in the game that I thought maybe kind of applied to the game, but by that point, I think most of my friends had tuned out. I mean, at halftime, you're right, Travis. My text threads are, Fran, look at this. Look at these guys playing. They're shooting lights out. The first thing that was said that I wanted that I think applies is at one point they're like, how does a team with this many shooters that can be that hot in the first half get this cold in the second half? And they even said, man, sometimes you don't want halftime to happen. That's what last night was. You've got and I think that kind of applies to this team, especially without Freeman, because they mentioned that too. Without bigs, this team's in trouble. And if you're not hitting at that pace that they were in that first half, you're in trouble. The other thing that I thought was interesting was how good is Maryland?
Well, I can't answer that because and I know that sounds really Pollyannish. They're a top 25 team. In the second half, when they couldn't do anything wrong, I'm like, this team's really good.
And that's when the announcer's like, this is a Final Four team. This is the team with the talent. That's what I was doing dishes, and I was like, pump the brakes. Hold on.
But see, that's where when you're visual, when you're watching a team that's clicking, you're like, oh boy, this team is nasty.
Another thing that was one of the best starting fives in the country.
I think Auburn might put. Did you watch the Auburn-Alabama game over the weekend?
I feel like I think Travis, what you just said is exactly what happens when you're. We all do it. What you're watching, you go, oh, this is the way it is. This is this team doesn't miss shots. This team races up and down the court. This team forces turnovers. This team forces bad shots. But you watch the first half and you'd say the exact opposite. You'd say all that stuff about Iowa. 51 points in the first half. Wasn't that what it was? 51?
Yeah, 51. They were at 51-47.
47, though. You still gave up 47 points in the first half. So, tough, man. That was a tough one because I think I also saw that you put out a tweet on our Rush account about, hope is a dangerous thing. And that's what happened in that first half is you got hope. And you looked at that and went, yeah.
Because you had hope coming off the Rutgers game, right? I mean, you come off that come from behind win at Rutgers, and you're like, okay, this team may have figured something out. You're at a top 25 team. We talked about Maryland being at Nebraska, having to go back home, travel across the country. Iowa comes out, and you're like, okay, we know Iowa's defense isn't great, but they're able to keep pace, have that lead, kind of deliver, a couple punches, and you're coming to that after halftime going, man, if they can just keep it close, this team knows how to battle late. And it just got out of hand quickly. But isn't that funny? And we all fall into this. And we can kind of go into the psychological part of this. When you see greatness, even if it's for a little – you automatically say, oh, my God, this is the greatest thing in the world.
Yeah, or this team is amazing. Amazing. Yes. And you kind of forget what's happening on the other side of the court or so tough. That was a tough loss after the hope. You get that hope up in that first half and then just get run out of the gym in that second half. And Travis, we had the conversation last week about how, man, it's nice how this team doesn't quit. And I don't think they didn't quit on Fran. The shots just stopped falling, and then all of a sudden you look up and you're down 20 with 4 minutes to play or whatever it is, and you go, what 20 with 4 minutes to play? It was 20 with 14 minutes to play, I think.
Yeah, I mean, by the first media timeout, Maryland already taken the lead back, and you're like, oh, I think it was like a 10-point game, and then before you know it, it was like a 20-point game, and you're like, oh, how bad can this get? And I'm waiting for that Iowa run to come, right? It's like, okay, with about 6 minutes to go, Iowa's going to come back, make a run of it. It just didn't happen. And Iowa drops to 14-11 overall, 5-9 in the Big Ten Conference. Going to return home on Wednesday to play Oregon. Oregon was at home yesterday where they beat Rutgers 75-57. Oregon going to be one of those teams. I think Oregon's going to make the NCAA tournament, but it needs to improve its resume a little bit. I don't know if Iowa's an improvement on the resume, but a road win would be would give the Ducks some hope and maybe get them off that 8-9 line that they could be sitting on. So it doesn't get any easier. I mean, you looked at what did we say last week? They got Oregon. That's a team that floats right around the top 25.
So three home games left. Okay, those 3 home games are Oregon and Washington. Those are your next 2. Washington comes up here on the 22nd. And then your final one is Michigan State, who will be coming into town playing for, again, what are they playing for? Seed. Those little losses are going to matter to Michigan State at that point. They're going to come in hot. Your road games are Illinois, Northwestern, and Nebraska.
Illinois will be a very tough game. Nebraska came down from 20 yesterday to win at Northwestern. They were down, I believe, 41-21 at the half, Ross. Came out and beat Northwestern on the road. Freddie's got them playing pretty decent. Late they hit kind of a cold spell, but Nebraska's been playing better basketball. Those aren't easy road games, even going to Northwestern, because they play hard. I know that sounds – that's a consolation prize, but they haven't quit either. I mean, it could be easy to get down and suffer some of these losses. They play hard.
Again, I don't want to fall for the same thing. I know I'm guilty of it. I just saw this team fall apart, and it's going to be easy to say, well, how can they can't play 40 minutes of basketball against a Big Ten team when I just saw them do that against Rutgers on the road. But it's easy to look at this and say, you're Washington at home, that's a game you got to win.
100%.
Got to win that game. And then I would even say that game at Northwestern, got to win that one. But even at that, Trav, you win those 2 and lose the other 4.
That would put you at 16 and 15 on the season.
Have they bottomed out? That's what, and I love. Brian Park asked on our, has this team bottomed out? I don't know what that means, Brian. I really don't. I'm not trying to dismiss it. I don't know. What does bottom look like? I don't think they've bottomed out, because you just had that win on the road at Rutgers. You played a really good first half against a top 25 team last night on the road.
Yeah, I guess I need to know. When I hear bottomed out, I mean
that's a team that's quit.
That's rock bottom.
Yeah.
I was not at rock bottom. We were just talking about the win at Rutgers, how that changed your whole emotion, right? You play that first half against Maryland. Bottomed out to me is rock bottom. This team is not at rock bottom. It's not a very good basketball team.
And they haven't, and again, Trav, if we're looking for things to give Fran McCaffrey credit for, they haven't quit. Can you put up Tony's comment on our screen here? Because I think this is a really good one. Iowa men's basketball is a damaged ship fighting its way home. They fire off salvos, but they're just trying to get to port for repairs. Beth, President Wilson, Fran, and likely some players have some tough decisions coming. All of that's true. That's a really good analogy. They're a battleship that went out there. We knew it was going to be a tough season. They're damaged, and they're trying to get back.
And this is the danger of doing longer-term contract extensions with big money attached to it. I hear, and we hear rumors and innuendo all the time, that Fran wants out, but he wants paid. And to me, if you want out, are you in it? Because if you're not in it, but I don't blame him for wanting to get paid. He signed the contract. They gave him the extension.
He's owed the money. Not going to walk away from it.
So we are taking phone calls. No,
it's
go
a
ahead.
tough one, man.
It is.
Has he quit on them, though? No, not at all.
No, not even suggesting that. Not even suggesting that.
And they haven't quit on him, but it's not enough to compete at the level that you need to compete at.
Not taking phone calls today because the phone lines are not portable when you go on the road. But you can always just leave a comment in the comment section, which you can do on YouTube and Twitter. You can always go to our website, therushradio.com. We're going to take a break, come back, talk about Iowa State as the Cyclones got a nice win over Cincinnati, and then the NCAA tournament pre-bracket came out over the weekend. We got a good indication of where the Cyclones fall heading in just a couple weeks from the NCAA tournament. You're listening to the Rush Radio Show, powered by Willis Automotive.
Oh, boy.
That's right, Brian. It's tailgate season, and Central City's got everything a good tailgate needs.
We have all the beer,
All the good party drinks,
And don't forget the White Claw.
hot dogs, brats, and chips.
kegs, and eggs.
And if you fill up your cooler with beer from Central City, we'll throw in the ice for free. By the way, what team is this supposed to represent?
All the teams, Brian, all the teams. I don't discriminate. Tailgate time.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Central City Liquor is home of the 10% cash coupon.
You've dreamed about an absolutely organized garage or closet? See it for yourself at Absolute Garage & Closet's beautiful showroom in Urbandale. See the latest in garage storage, custom closet systems, and epoxy flooring applications up close, and imagine how good it will feel to have your garage, closets, or other spaces absolutely organized. Free consultations, friendly service, and quick project turnarounds, Absolute Garage & Closets is ready to bring peace of mind into your home. Visit Absolute Garage & Closets at 3169 99th Street in Urbandale or at absolutegarage.net.
Is something in your attic keeping you up at night? Don't let unwanted guests take over your home. With over 20 years of experience, Bats and Bugs Pest Solutions is Central Iowa's trusted expert in fast, effective, eco-friendly wildlife solutions at a fair price. We safely remove bats, squirrels, raccoons, birds, and more so you can sleep soundly again. For a free estimate, call Bats and Bugs Pest Solutions today at 515-218-3400.
Hey, I'm Mason out here at Mini of Des Moines, one of the motor advisors. Currently this month, Love is in the Air. We are doing a $1,000 mini loyalty on Countryman, $750 on all other models excluding the BEV. Also, we are doing a $500 Conquest cash on select models, so you do get a benefit even if you're not a Mini owner. So for more information, stop at our showroom, come see me. We're happy to get that information going, or see us on our Mini website, miniofdesmoines.com.
When it comes to mortgages, no one is more trusted than Gary Presnall at Northwest Bank in Des Moines, Iowa's top mortgage banker for the past 5 years. Call Gary at 515-975-6767 or find his profile at nw.bank. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Believe it or not, spring is coming. When it does, be absolutely organized with custom garage or closet systems from Absolute Garage & Closets. Turn a winter mess into a spring success at our showroom in Urbandale or visit absolutegarage.net.
Do you have a pest problem? With over 20 years of experience, Bats and Bugs Pest Solutions is Central Iowa's local expert in fast, effective, eco-friendly pest solutions at a fair price for your home or business. Call us today at 515-218-3400.
You know, Brian, at Central City, we really do have the best selection around.
I know, high quality stuff you can't find anywhere else.
Whistle Pig Plantation Rum.
Yeah, and over 150 of the best scotches on earth.
And a ton of bitters, mixers, and more.
You know what we are? High class.
Definitely high class, yeah.
Make way for the natty.
Okay, maybe medium class.
Central City Liquor is home of the 10% cash coupon.
And the Wooden Nickel program.
With over 260 beers on tap, El Bait Shop isn't just another craft beer bar. It's the best. Beer lovers know El Bait Shop, 200 Southwest 2nd, Des Moines.
Missing a quality home-cooked meal? You know, the kind Mom used to make? Lucky for you, we found her recipe book. Welcome to the High Life. Welcome to the Champagne of Bars.
Welcome back to the Rush Radio Show, powered by Willis Automotive. Good to have you along on a Monday. course, you can listen to the Rush Radio Show all day long. That's right. Once we're off live, you can listen at therushradio.com. Just click that Listen Live button. Or if you want to start from the very beginning and just download it on your favorite podcast channel, wherever that may be. I'm Travis Justice. He's Ross Peterson. We're here till 8 o'clock today. Good to have you along. I'm in Santa Fe, New Mexico today. I'll be back in my regular studio tomorrow. We heard the Central City boys talking. We might get a barrel pick.
We're working on it. Yeah, we're working on some things.
We're working on it.
The Duax boys are all, as you can tell, very creative and always down for a good time. So it's always sailgate season. I love them.
High class, medium class.
And now listen, I know you want to get to Iowa State, but I had some people in the chat were asking about the hockey game this weekend. And
we're going to get to it.
Yeah, we'll get to that. Promise.
Well, yeah, probably right after 7 o'clock because there were two things in sports that happened over the weekend and that were the greatest thing I've seen in sports in a long time, and the hockey game was one of them. Right?
Yeah.
And so we'll get to that. But we do want to talk about Iowa State because the Cyclones got a nice win over Cincinnati. That was kind of expected playing at home. Ross, we find out kind of where the NCAA selection committee is now thinking because for the last several years, they've let their top 16 seeds out right before, about a month before the tournament, which I think is a good gauge. There's nothing set in stone. Iowa State can still move up to where it's at, and they even noted that Milan Momcilovic being out maybe affected them a little bit, and there's some room for growth there. But we saw that Iowa State was a number 3 seed.
Yeah,
which is what we talked about last week.
If they are the number 10 team in the Associated Press poll, you've got that fits perfectly in line with where it should be, what it could be. Trav, I think that's and I know when you've been watching the team, when you've been loving every second of it, when you are an insider, it feels differently. I get that, and that's not me. I am an outsider rooting for this team. To me, being in those top 4 is really that's not only your goal, that's the most important thing. The better your seed is, the better your chances are. I get that. But this is not, there's no reason to be upset about the 3. You just said it perfectly. What the committee said there is, we understand that some of those losses were because you weren't at full strength. When you're at full strength, this team is probably a 2 seed. Get to that one line, there, a lot of pieces and dominoes have to fall to get there. But I think you have to be really happy with what you saw from this, right? Not only the win against Cincinnati, which was a tough game. Cincinnati came in, that was probably a tougher game for a lot of that than you wanted it to be. Did you see the thing with TJ at having the conversation? Wasn't quite the same as the Fran stare down. But I did like the standing. He stands there and talks to the guy like, I just want to. If I don't squeeze my own pecs, I'm going to get mad.
Do you do that? Do you make them look bigger than what they are? Go, okay, I want you to see the guns, man. I
didn't think of it that way.
Yeah.
Are you pushing? He doesn't need that.
Are you peacocking at that point? Are you peacocking?
I'm a guy that has to kind of do that, like roll the bicep up on top of the muscle. He doesn't need to do that. No, I think that's a stress thing. What was the Saturday Night Live character, Mary Catherine Gallagher, the one that would smell her own armpits when she was nervous?
Yes.
I think that's just TJ's like, if I don't do this, I'm going to stand there like this. And I don't want to stand there like this because that looks, so that's what I see at least.
But credit the official. And again, I host the podcast Make the Right Calls, which is with Division I basketball officials. And they talk about the importance of communication and listening to your coaches, and if they have something to say, to make sure you I mean, you're going in at halftime, and you pull an official probably wants to go take a break. The fact that he stood there, listened to him, I think that's all TJ wants. Would you at least look me in the eye, let me tell you what I'm thinking, and
you explain to me what you've seen?
Yes.
I think you're right. That's why it's a conversation rather than him barking at the guy, getting teed up. You start the second half on a really sour note.
Well, and let's talk about the difference because you brought up Fran McCaffrey. When Fran, and we're not saying TJ is better than Fran or Fran's better in the way to do it, but Fran just did a stare down. right? TJ was having a conversation.
Yeah.
And there's a completely different – the stare down's meant to intimidate. No, I think TJ, just his physique intimidates people.
I can't help it. I'm jacked. I can't help it. Not my fault. You're scared of me.
What do you think he bench presses? You think he's a 350 pounder on the bench press?
I don't know, dude. I mean, the dude could hammer curl.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, if you put 245s on a bar right now, I couldn't put it up. I guarantee I have zero muscle mass right now.
240? You mean a 45 on each side?
Yeah, I couldn't.
Oh, what's that? 135 pounds?
I think so. There's no way I could bench press it.
I don't think
no
I could
way.
get up 135.
I know I could.
Come on. And if I psych myself up, there's no way. Not right now. We try.
But fans love it, and the optics of it were okay. But it is a coach having a conversation with an official. What I've learned doing this podcast is I would never want to be a Division I basketball official because you're never going to keep anybody happy. You are always going to be a point of contention with coaches, with fans, with players. You're never going to keep everybody happy. And I think you'd probably, these coaches and officials get along better than what you think. There's some that don't like each other, but there are relationships there. They talk outside. They'll call even afterwards for clarification. After the game, they're like, hey, can you just run me through this?
And Trav, you know this from your time with officials. Your reputation precedes you. Yes. I mean, again, like to use, I hate picking on Fran all the time. I really do. I really do hate picking on the guy and using him as like an example in this stuff because I like Fran. I think he seems like a wonderful dude. There's just not a connection with the Hawkeye fan base anymore, or if there ever was. But these situations are a time when we can use this as an example. I saw this at every level of basketball that I've ever been around, and Travis, you've been around at the top, those levels above that NAIA thing. Your reputation precedes you. The officials know when they walk in the gym how much shit you're going to give them as a coach and what your attitude is towards officials. And they probably know which one of your assistants is going to be the guy that's going to be mouthing off to them and stuff. They go into the game with all of that. So when you've done it before, again, you've already got that strike against you as they're walking in the gym. They go, oh, crap, here we go. We got this guy. Who's that guy? I yelled at my buddy last week. Is that fair? Not at all. Does it happen? Yes.
And what happens is you get a lot of officials that will do – you'll notice the bigger officials are on the bigger games. So a lot of people know that Iowa State's a really good basketball team, so you're going to get some repetitiveness when it comes to officials.
Yep.
And they become household names. You become either you like them or you don't like them. There's in that reputation. When they honored John Higgins at Iowa State last year after his retirement, I think there were some people that were like, why are we honoring him?
Yeah.
We didn't like him. Now, him and Jamie Pollard are neighbors at Panorama, so they hang out a lot. They're at the lake together all the time. But, I have no problem with what TJ did.
No.
It was just the optics. People just love, look at, that's our coach.
Well,
that's
he's out
our
there.
coach.
I mean, yes. Yeah. Any sport.
Yes.
You're out there fighting for your guys. And again, there's when Fran does it, it looks angry because of that. It's just a perception. It's a style that's way different. And TJ just goes out there and, like you said, has a conversation with the guy. Is it the same thing? Kinda. Is it way different? Yeah.
So your number one seeds in that pre-NCAA bracket, Auburn is your overall number one seed, and rightfully so.
Right.
Did you watch the Auburn-Alabama game at all?
No, I did not.
You had number one versus number two. Auburn goes into Alabama and gets the win. I like Bruce Pearl a lot. Even before, I didn't know him when he was at Iowa. I met Bruce Pearl one time. It was in Cleveland. It was for the NCAA tournament. I forget where he was at. It was a smaller school. He was just walking around outside, Ross, and I stopped him, and I just said, hey, grew up an Iowa fan. and he sat and had like a 5 to 10 minute conversation with us outside the arena. He didn't have to do that, right? I mean, and then you watch his personality and the way he embraces everything. He just seems like this really, really good guy. My interaction with him was positive. Alabama, a number 1 seed. Duke, a number 1 seed. And Florida got that last number 1 seed. So you have 3 SEC teams in there as number 1 seeds, which is – I remember growing up, the SEC was not a basketball league. It is a basketball league now.
So Bruce Pearl, great. Let's just him for a second. Southern Indiana, by the way, was where he was.
Okay.
I had to look up his Wikipedia page to see.
No, that's a Division II school. What other schools was he
Milwaukee?
At? It was Milwaukee.
Was it? Okay. Okay.
Yeah, it was UW Milwaukee.
Well, so as soon as you say Bruce Pearl again, he was at Iowa, 86 to 92. But man, when I was a kid like that, I didn't know the assistants. I knew Tom Davis, right?
Yeah.
So when I hear Bruce Pearl, I think of him at Tennessee, knowing that he was an Iowa assistant because it was always kind of talked about in the house or whatever. But man, think of the change he's seen there, Trav. From 2005, like you said, probably the 3rd best, at maybe 4th best, 5th best conference. The Valley at times was a better conference than the SEC.
You could make that argument back in the early 2000s, absolutely.
And he has been a part of that entire transition. So, yeah, I'm with you. He seems like a guy with a really fun personality. There's no scandal
Well, he got the show cause at Tennessee.
For what?
Basically cheating.
Paying players?
I think he had the barbecue and everything where players would come out to the house. At Auburn, he was attached, much like Bill Self was to like the Adidas scandal, but nothing really materialized there. Bill Self and all those Adidas guys, with the exception of Rick Pitino, came out smelling like a rose when it came to the big things. But I think most people looked at that now and go, with NIL, that's the part of doing business. So nothing major at Auburn like he was at Tennessee. Your number 2 seeds would be Purdue, Houston, Tennessee, and Texas A&M. And so there was the discussion amongst the committee was that last number 1 seed, and it was discussed between Tennessee and Texas A&M. Iowa State, a number 3 seed, Kentucky, a number 3 seed, Wisconsin, a number 3 seed, and Arizona, a number 3 seed. And then your 4 seeds are Texas Tech, Michigan, Kansas, and St. John's. A lot of people probably looking at Kansas and going, are you kidding me? Why Kansas? Because Kansas got beat again. I think they're 17th in the Associated Press poll. Might stay there, might even drop a little more. But it's the teams they've played. Their power ranking is so high. I looked at the ESPN power rankings this morning. I think they're top 10 when it comes to the power rankings. So don't really look at the record and the AP poll as much as you look at those ESPN power rankings and the NET scores.
Yeah, the BPIs and the indexes and all those other computer things that know way better than we do. They're way smarter than we are. But they do get to analyze every game too. So
exactly. So, at a number 3 seed, possibly number 2 seed, Iowa State's going to be more than in position to fulfill what we think. Anything less than a Sweet 16 would be disappointing. To me. I mean, that would not be living up to your
no doubt about that, Trav. That's if you don't make it to the second weekend, and that's a good place to be. That's your expectation for the season. It's a wonderful thing. Can we hit pause and go back for just a moment here?
Yes.
All right. Because I was on that Wikipedia page for Bruce Pearl, and I was kind of scrolling through because I was like, man, I feel I did. It was the thing in my head of like, wow, no scandal. There's a little bit of a scandal. It's kind of a fun one.
At Auburn?
No, at Iowa.
Well, yeah, the recruiting of the Illinois player.
Deion Thomas?
Yes.
Who was fantastic, by the way.
Yes.
So Bruce Pearl's recruiting him out of Chicago. Illinois is recruiting him. They're in a battle. He obviously decides he's going to go with Illinois. Now, according to the Wikipedia page, Bruce Pearl calls him up and says, hey, we lost out. did they give you like an SUV? And the kid, Deion Thomas, doesn't say so, but kind of alludes to the fact of like, yeah, they paid me to come to Illinois. And then Bruce Pearl turned that tape over to the NCAA.
Which is a no-no, right? I mean, first of all, he recorded the conversation, which you can't do without somebody's consent.
Well, now that depends on what state.
True.
Right? So in Iowa, you can. In Iowa, you can record somebody's conversation without them. Only one party has to be aware of it. So you can't, a third party can't record two people. But anyway, that's part of the conversation is, where did Bruce Pearl originate the phone call from? Because that's how the state law depends. So that's a fun little scandal.
Yeah, he's always lived on the edge, but he's always won too.
But so I mean, yeah, I can make the moral argument there, right? Like what he really did there was he didn't break the rules. He didn't pay the player. When he lost out to somebody that did break the rules, he just tried to say, hey, there's a cheater in our midst. And the NCAA slapped his hand. He was Elon Musk. Okay.
Here we go. Now you're going to set off a firestorm.
Totally, Joe.
Oh, just totally poking the bear. Poking the bear.
Hey, so what you, speaking of poking the bear, though, you said there were two great things that happened this weekend. You want to wait till 7 o'clock to get to both of those?
Yeah, I'm going to wait till the 7 o'clock hour.
All right.
Because I do want to bring up Drake. Justin Miller is going to join us right around 7:30.
Okay.
You had the blue out yesterday at the Knapp Center. An 11-game winning streak by the Bulldogs snapped as they lost to Bradley 61-59. Tough loss at home, and they still have that one-game lead in the Valley over Bradley. But you have 4 left to play, Ross, and you got to go to you got UIC up next, which is a team that Drake lost to earlier in the season. Then you have to go to UNI. That's where you would have liked to keep that cushion. It's hard to look back, but you might look at this game as, ooh, if you could have kept that 2-game cushion with 4 to play, you felt pretty good. Now you got a 1-game cushion with some tough games to end the season, including that tough one at Northern Iowa. And so Drake's going to have his hands full down the stretch here.
Yep, I think you just nailed it, Trav. That's maybe on a big level, like we've been hoping that this Drake team would keep themselves in that at-large bid conversation in case something happened down at Arch. And I think that even you had such a thin margin of error to try to sneak into that conversation that goes away. Now you got to get through St. Louis. So these next couple of weeks are important. Yep, you want to. And then again, nothing's wrong. You lost by 2 to a really good team who came in with their best shot, knew that you were playing your best basketball, and came in and beat you at your own game for a moment, one night. So nothing to like right the ship or freak out about. But yeah, some things got lost last night, including, I think most importantly, what you're talking about, that cushion going into St. Louis.
Yeah.
So possibly that little slim conversation of being at large goes away, but that was such a 1% conversation anyway. The bigger thing is your game's cushion that we've been talking about the last week is done.
Tyler brings up Bradley went on a 16-0 run in the first half, and that hurt. And Bradley is a good basketball team. You just want to protect that home court. And Drake's lost at home twice this year, so you don't want to lose at home. They did, but still holding on to first place. 4 left to play. Northern Iowa was supposed to play Murray State yesterday, so Northern Iowa was right up there near the top 2. That game got postponed to today. There was some inclement weather in Tennessee. There was some lightning strikes. There was a power outage on the university. They weren't able to get the power back on, so they had to postpone the game. They're moving it to Nashville, where they're going to play tonight at Belmont. And so they're going to play Murray State. Then I think they play Belmont like the next night. That's a tough run for the Panthers. And that kind of upsets the apple cart, right? You get in a routine, you're ready to play, and all of a sudden you're like, oh, we're not playing. Now you got to go 120 miles one way to go to Nashville, play in a different arena, play, and then turn around and play again. I think again on Tuesday night against Belmont.
Is it that quick of a turnaround?
I think it is. No, it's Wednesday, but you're still playing.
They play. Okay, that's still 48 hour.
Yeah, there's a difference between playing Sunday, Wednesday, than opposed to Monday, Wednesday. All I kept thinking, because I work in the construction world outside of here, is like they didn't have redundancy on the
Murray
the
State
arena.
campus.
Yeah,
on the arena.
Do you not have a generator that kicks on automatically, or it's just not strong enough to power the whole arena?
I didn't look into why that was. I saw the news of it, and I guess I just thought it was, when I saw the headline, I took it more as a weather thing than a power outage story. So I don't know.
You know what they could have done? I know it kind of cheapens it a little bit, but couldn't you find like a local high school? Pick like the biggest high school.
Oh,
and
think of how cool. That'd be so intimate.
It would be.
But you couldn't do it.
Why?
You couldn't do it. You're going to lose too much. You're going to lose too much. You've got the top team in the or one of the top teams in the conference coming to town. That's a home game that you're counting on that little bit of revenue already. I mean, you know this stuff better than I do, Trav. Isn't that what the thought is there? Like, well, we can't give up this home game. We can't give up the ticket sales. We can't give up the concessions. We're not going to we're not going to rent a high school. I mean, you're probably in that situation already where you got to call up to Belmont and say, all right, what kind of deal can we swing?
But can you imagine the type of atmosphere in a good high school gym? That would be pretty cool. Just to, you're surrounded, you're close.
What if you did that just once a year? Like what? How Iowa, they've been doing the game, they play in Sioux Falls or whatever, right?
Yeah.
What if you just played at like...
Yeah, because that Sanford arena only seats like 3,500. I mean, there are high schools that probably have more seats than that. There are in Indiana.
Now you've got my brain going. That would actually be super cool. Like Iowa playing even if it's a non-con. Iowa's hosting Campbell at Bondurant Farrar. Yeah, that would be kind of cool.
And it's a Valley game. Not to push anything back against the Valley, but how many people was Murray State actually going to have at the game anyway? Right? I mean,
especially because somebody pointed out that it was the power outage in the town, not necessarily the arena. That when the whole town is out of power, you're not going to host a game. Tyler also with another good one. ISU wrestles in the Humboldt gym. They do.
That's cool
because that's where Dresser's from.
We're gonna go play at local high school. Now, because people are smart and they're smarter than us, letting us know there's no shot clocks in Kentucky high school, so they probably wouldn't have a shot clock.
Oh, okay.
In Iowa, you have the shot clock, so the shot clock wouldn't be a problem. But
that's funny.
But we're just idea guys, just trying to come up and solve solutions.
See, again,
problems.
with some planning, you could do it. The college 3-point line, the whatever you could make all of those adjustments. You could put a shot clock in. That would be a cool thing to do. It would just take some. It would take some.
I'm willing to bet it came up in conversation as they're trying to decide what to do. I bet it came up in conversation. And they probably just said, logistically, this is probably go to Nashville, play is probably the most easiest thing to do. But you wonder how many options were thrown out there. Go play at the Y. Go play at
an NAIA school.
Yes, that would have been kind of cool. But they're going to play tonight at Belmont. We got an hour in the books. We got an hour to go. When we come back, we're going to talk about what I think were the two coolest things that happened in sports over the weekend. And really maybe had nothing to do with sports at all. Well, they did, but they were just super cool. One propelled a game or a sport back into the limelight, got people excited about it. And another one just was a guy who gets it. just a guy who gets it. So we'll talk about those, plus Justin Miller joining us right around 7:30 to talk about that Drake loss yesterday. This is the Rush Radio Show powered by Willis Automotive.
What's going on, everybody? It's Bobby here at Land Rover Des Moines. Just wanted to say it's February, so I invite you to come in and fall in love with a Land Rover. We've got over 43 of them in stock and 2.9% financing on select vehicles. You'll never find a better time to fall in love with something just like this. So call, click, or visit us at LandRoverDesMoines.com or stop down in the showroom and see one in person. You'll be glad you did.
There's a new spin on casual dining near Drake University. Lucky Horse Beer and Burgers. Craveable faves, flatbreads, delicious burgers, frozen cocktails, and a crazy cool vibe. Get to Lucky Horse Beer and Burgers today.
Missing a quality home-cooked meal? You know, the kind Mom used to make? Lucky for you, we found her recipe book. Welcome to the High Life. Welcome to the Champagne of Bars.
I'm loving these wooden nickels, Brian.
Yeah, I suppose everyone is catching on.
Just spend $20 to get a wooden nickel.
It's 25.
Collect 10 and add up the savings on your next purchase.
Some of these are worth $5. That could be huge.
I know, right? That's why you have to spend $20.
It's 25.
Collect 10. It's like money back to you.
Spend 20, you get another wooden nickel.
It's 25.
Collect 10 and add up the savings. It's huge.
Central City Liquors, home of the 10% cash coupon.
And the wooden nickel program.
It's huge.
Is something in your attic keeping you up at night? Don't let unwanted guests take over your home. With over 20 years of experience, Bats and Bugs Pest Solutions is Central Iowa's trusted expert in fast, effective, eco-friendly wildlife solutions at a fair price. We safely remove bats, squirrels, raccoons, birds, and more so you can sleep soundly again. For a free estimate, call Bats and Bugs Pest Solutions today at 515-218-3400.
You've dreamed about an absolutely organized garage or closet? See it for yourself at Absolute Garage & Closet's beautiful showroom in Urbandale. See the latest in garage storage, custom closet systems, and epoxy flooring applications up close, and imagine how good it will feel to have your garage, closets, or other spaces absolutely organized. Free consultations, friendly service, and quick project turnarounds, Absolute Garage & Closets is ready to bring peace of mind into your home. Visit Absolute Garage & Closets at 3169 99th Street in Urbandale or at absolutegarage.net.
Hi, I'm John Linares, Sales Manager at Willis Lexus, and this month we're going to help you find your perfect match. Stop out and see us. We've got great inventory of NX and NX Hybrid, TX, and ES. We have more inventory arriving daily, and this month Lexus has also brought back the very popular 42-month lease. Stop out and see us or visit us online at willislexus.com.
Largest selection of German beer in the world? You'll find it at the Hessen House. From Doppelbocks to Oktoberfest to Hefeweizens and Dunkels, there's no passport needed for the deliciously different beer and food at the Hessen House. So grab your friends and make it a fun night out. The Hessen House, 4th and Court, Des Moines.
With over 260 beers on tap, El Bait Shop isn't just another craft beer bar. It's the best. Beer lovers know. El Bait Shop, 200 Southwest 2nd, Des Moines.
Do you have a pest problem? With over 20 years of experience, Bats and Bugs Pest Solutions is Central Iowa's local expert in fast, effective, eco-friendly pest solutions at a fair price for your home or business. Call us today at 515-218-3400.
Hour number 2 of the Rush Radio Show. Good to have you along on a Monday. Couple things. If you're just joining us, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Give this video a like and set up your notifications so you know when we go live each and every morning at 6 a.m. That way you don't have to be go search for us. It just pop right up in your YouTube feed. You can follow us on X at Rush Mornings. Just search The Rush with Travis and Ross on Facebook and give our Facebook page a like. And, of course, you can now follow us on Instagram. Just search The Rush Radio Show. I'm Travis Justice. He's Ross Peterson. We're here till 8 o'clock today. And it was a busy, busy weekend. And two things happened in sports, Ross, that just, to me, make it bigger than sports, right? To really go beyond and bring people outside who love sports even get an interest. I could care less, or I could not care less. Could not? Is that
Thank you?
Proper?
Thank you for that correction.
Yes, I could not care less about the Four Nations hockey tournament. I couldn't.
Okay.
Okay, it's kind of like the World Baseball Classic. I don't really care about it. I get why they do it. But to me, I still like the regular season.
True story, Travis. I didn't even know it was happening. Didn't know it was a thing.
Yes.
If you just would have, if Friday you would have said something about Four Nations, I would have thought it was a political thing.
Yes. Now you'll have some hockey geeks who go, "No, this is really good." That's fine.
And it is.
It is. It's fine. But I don't care about it. What I do care about is the storyline, and we have a storyline now. I'm old enough to remember 1980. I remember the Miracle on Ice. I remember when the Olympics were awesome because we didn't like certain countries. We didn't like you. And the snobby Canadians up in Montreal, not all Canadians. You get to the western half of Canada, they're somewhat normal. The French Canadians in Montreal, they're jerks, okay? And so in one of the games before Canada and the United States played, the moronic, disrespectful Montrealians, or whatever we want to call them, just booed the national anthem. Just booed. There were pleas from the public address announcer to stop booing. That's all we needed, was to hate Canada. That's all we needed. We needed that motivation. And then Canada and the United States played, and they dropped gloves, and they went at it 9 seconds into the game. And
no, not 9 seconds. Not 9 seconds, Travis. You're misunderstanding that headline. 3 fights in the first 9 seconds.
Okay, 3 fights in the first 9 seconds.
It was awesome. It was it was the best thing that could have happened for hockey in 2025. The best thing that could have happened was not only that game, but the U.S. then going on to kick their ass on the ice and then win that game. Trav, so I'm with you. Friday, had no idea this was even happening, but a group of buddies were getting together on Saturday night to we play this horse racing card game. It's kind of fun, and we get together once every few months and play this game. Well, we'd been planning to do this Saturday night, and our buddy Alan said, "Hey, as long as we can watch this hockey game," he's a big hockey fan. He's like, "As long as we can watch the hockey game, I'll be there." What hockey game? He's like, it's a big hockey game coming up on Saturday night, USA, Canada. So he kind of tuned us into it. So we were watching. I mean, as the game started, we kind of made sure it was on. It's funny that you bring up 1980 because they even had, I'm going to screw up his name, or Mike Eruzione.
Yep, Mike Eruzione.
He was in they were showing pictures of him kind of being with the team beforehand and talking about the significance of it. Canada has, one of their lines is like the greatest line you could ever put together. They have literally some of the most talented players of all time on that roster. It's barely a Hall of Fame roster. It's like a Hall of All Time roster that they've got right now. And that's what this team was up against. And for the Kachuk brothers, the brothers to get in the first 2 fights. And then the story was that as the first one was fighting, the one brother looked at the other dude and said, "Hey, we're going next. Let's do this." Awesome. And then fun. Hockey has that thing about it, man. What is it about hockey and baseball that for the majority of the time, it can be a boring game? But man, when it tunes up, when that adrenaline starts to rise and that tension rises, there's something about hockey and baseball that it's like, oh my God, it all matters all of a sudden. Playoff baseball, playoff hockey, game sevens, there's something that your blood pressure rises in those moments. Football and basketball, it seems like the day-to-day and the minute-to-minute has a little bit more pace and action and activity. But with baseball and hockey, maybe it's that thing of when you're in the desert, any drop of water. that because all of a sudden this excitement level is way up here, you go, whoa, I can't take my eyes off of this game all of a sudden.
Well, I'll tell you what, I think it's the violence. My little Greta, now she's not little anymore, she's 18, but I used to take her to USHL games all the time, when fighting was still prominent in USHL. That little kid loved fighting. She wanted to go to hockey games because she loved to watch the fights.
I love it.
And I think the Clutch says this: dropping the gloves is the best way to turn a non-hockey fan into a hockey fan, at least for a moment. People, we are gladiator sport lovers. There's a reason we like UFC. I know, Ross, you think it's stupid. I think it's stupid. The slap games.
Oh, my God. This thing is taken off, dude.
Yes.
My buddies love it. I'm like, they're just slapping the shit out of each other. Yeah, this is awesome.
Yeah, we like seeing people take hits. And what I like in this, it's a me versus you. I never thought Canada would be that country, but now Canada's that country. It's like, oh, you're going to boo us? All right, let's go. We're dropping the gloves. And the fact that the Chuck brothers, they defended the country. It wasn't defending the honor. It was like, we are going to defend the country, you snobby French Canadians.
You patriots, give those Kachuk brothers some Purple Hearts or something. I don't know. That's too much. I shouldn't have said Purple Heart. I apologize to any Purple Heart Award winners that are out there. But I mean, damn it, that was a gold star moment. Good job, boys.
Even the Canadian coach. There's a headline on ESPN.com today says, as unfortunate as the turnout of the game was for Canada, and unfortunately, he goes, it was the best thing to happen for hockey.
No doubt about it.
5.4 million viewers that night. The lead up, because of the headlines were the U.S. got booed, and you were like, okay, what are they going to do? And they didn't disappoint. They knew, okay, first of all, we're going to defend our country, but we're like, all right, people paid to see something. We're going to let them
put
see
on
something.
a show, boys.
We're going to put on a show.
It was the Hanson brothers. It was
really
Slapshot
was.
for a moment. Yeah, and Trav, the build-up thing again, those text conversations that I think we're all, a lot of us are a part of that with groups of friends and groups of guys. We were together as a group of friends watching it. But even my group of friends, other guys were like, this is the greatest hockey game I've ever seen. And so, yeah, the best thing that could have possibly happened for hockey, not only the build-up, the payoff with those fights right away, and then the USA winning, which is a big part of it. I know that it seems very nationalist or whatever, but it is important.
And now Canada and Team USA may play again, I believe, for the championship. That game's going to be, I think, in Boston, of all places. Boston, of all places.
And it did get my political juices flowing too. Because man, halfway through that game, I'm like, you know what? That flag's going to look real good with some blue on it.
I used to like "O Canada." I thought "O Canada" was a good national anthem. I don't
anymore.
like it anymore. Yeah.
Not anymore. Yep. It's going to be real nice fishing up there when it's just like driving to Wisconsin.
Now, the other cool thing that happened in sports, and I need to I hate to put the preface on this. This is not a political statement. I would say this if it was anybody from any political party who's serving as president of the United States. But you have to admit, when President Trump got off Air Force One, unloaded the beast, which is the limo, and took the entire motorcade around the Daytona 500 track, that was super cool. You're like, that's the beast on the Daytona 500 track. This thing's got to do 31 degrees of banking. How's it going to stay up on the hill? I can tell you who won the Daytona 500, but I can tell you now that
I can tell you who won.
Lap,
Donald Trump won the Daytona 500.
100%.
And you can hate the man. He gets it. He is. It's all a show. It's a political theater, is what it is. It's all a production and a show, and this guy gets it. You might not like it. A lot of people didn't like Barack Obama. Barack Obama got it.
Bill Clinton got it.
Bill Clinton got it. Right. There's been a lot of guys in our lifetimes that have got it. The first one to get it and to change the game was JFK. Television's turned on, and it was like, oh, it's a show. And you got to win the show. And this guy wins the show by doing stuff like this. I'm indifferent on Donald Trump. I really am. I mean, there's some things I've seen for a long time. I've been indifferent on politics. I see it as theater. And so I don't have a favorite actor. But it is funny to me how this guy, dude, did you hear his speech when he talked to the drivers?
So he got on the comms, right? He gets on the comms, and I'm going to try to do this. You hear how it's a kind of a commie thing when they get on there and they talk to the drivers. Okay, you got a car on the right side.
Yeah.
He gets on there.
It sounds excellent, by the way. It sounds just like the thing.
Hello, everybody. This is your favorite president talking.
That's what he said. Hello, everybody. It's your favorite president.
So, Stephen, no, Stephen, you guys getting political this AM?
Oh, God, no,
we're not. No. All we're saying, Stephen, and we said this, if it would have been Joe Biden, if it would have been Barack Obama, if it would have been anybody that got in the Beast and rode around Daytona in the limo, that would have been cool regardless. You would have said, that person gets it. That person just knows how. This has nothing to do with Donald Trump. He's just the one that did it.
We are talking about both parties here with Obama, Clinton. Listen, I was a guy that loved George Bush. I went after 9/11, man, I fell for that hard. I was like, oh, this guy. Because it was a show. It was a production. In fact, we're not getting political. We're being apolitical. We're trying to tell you all, quit paying attention. It's all for entertainment. But
it's funny just to watch people be like, I'd rather have Valley talk.
It's all right.
I get it, but you have to be.
That was a moment. That was a sports cultural moment as he's driving around as the motorcade is going around Daytona. It's absurd. How does everybody not see that and go, oh, it's a show. Oh, okay.
But then you go from in thinking in a PR mind that I'm usually thinking. You go, oh, that was brilliant.
Brilliant.
That was just brilliant.
As soon as you see it, brilliant.
Just anyway. You don't have to like that. We're not saying you have to like the guy, but you have to go, okay, that was
cultural moment for sure.
Cultural
moment. We'll change the subject here. Can I get before go ahead.
I do want to say something because I'm on my kick of reading books about Washington and Jefferson, the forefathers. It's funny that you use the word theater because George Washington always referred it to the political theater.
I didn't make it up. That's where it comes from. Yep, he always talked about it. He got it. He's a dude that didn't want to be president. He thought that one of the requirements for being president was that you didn't want to be. Think about that. So anyway, and trust me, we haven't had a guy that didn't want to be for a long time.
That's fair. 100% fair. What were you going to switch gears to?
All right. Can I just wax loquacious for a moment and get poetic about my kid who and the sport of wrestling, by the way. Just this weekend, Eli wrestled at districts. He went 1-2, got a win in districts, and by the way, was wrestling at 157 and only weighed 149 when he weighed in. I didn't know that he would be able to even wrestle there, but he was like 149.8 or something. So anyway, got a win at districts. I'm super duper proud of him for the season he's put in and the hard work. But man, wrestling state tournament coming up. That sport is special, man. There is something about that sport, and watching my kid go through it. I mean, I had buddies that wrestled. I wrestled as like a kid, right? I did the junior club thing when I was a little kid. I didn't have the balls to wrestle in high school. My friends that did, I thought I understood what they were going through, but man, seeing it as a dad, And having not gone through it, it is so cool to see what it does for a person. It's the most pure form of sport I've ever watched in my life, Travis. There's
It makes you mentally tough. I mean, it teaches you so many life lessons. And the community around wrestling, I mean, you can look at it at the college level. You can look at it at the high school level. You can even look at it at the junior level. You go to these small little tournaments. It is a community. And I'm with you. I wrestled up until 6th grade, and then I realized, I'm lazy, and this is a lot of work, and I don't want to work this hard, so I play basketball, right? But it takes a special person to wrestle.
It's really cool.
Even if you're not very good, it takes a special person to wrestle.
Yep. Because you're going to go out there and shake hands, and that whistle's going to blow, and it's you. It's you and that guy. And these are your tools right here. And coach can only give you advice. There's
your
no
best tool.
Yeah,
That's your
you're right
best
about
tool.
that. That's big. So anyway, I just watching him wrap up his first high school season. Very, very cool to see what it does, and good luck to all those kids. I want to throw out there, my nephew Reagan Roberts down in Knoxville won his district and is headed to state. So
cool. You got the girls wrestling first, and then the guys later on. And girls wrestling is taking off, in not just in the state of Iowa, but all around, which is so cool to see so many people becoming involved with wrestling. At one point, you thought maybe wrestling was dead. You go back to 15 years ago, you're like, can this sport survive? I think wrestling is probably, in a lot of ways, more popular in attracting more people because of girls wrestling, which is super cool.
Tyler's, and I knew this, Tyler. I apologize. The girls is actually the girls state is already done now. Yeah.
See, in Nebraska where I live, the girls they do the girls today and tomorrow and Wednesday, and the boys Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So that I got my states mixed up. So I'm sorry, Tyler. You know how I always make observations when I travel.
Okay.
You know, and Pat's wife Amy's like, "Are you always looking for stuff?" I said, I wouldn't say that I'm looking for stuff for the show. It just you observe something and you go, "Huh, maybe I should bring this up." So we're in the plaza area of Santa Fe the other day, and I go into the restroom. It's a public restroom, and there's a line, Ross. There's a line. Okay, you got 2 urinals and then a pooper. Okay, and so. There's 4 people in line. Urinal leaves, guy goes in the urinal. Pooper leaves, nobody goes in the pooper. And I'm standing there, and the next 2 guys, and I don't want to cut in line because I don't want to make anybody mad, right? But everybody else waits for the urinal because they have to pee. And I'm like, you can pee in a regular toilet. And I'm sitting, so finally I get to me, and I'm like, I just go into the pooper, and I take a pee in there, and people look at me like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "I'm taking a whiz, man," because you can stand up, you can sit down, you can do whatever you do, but don't make the line longer. We're trying to be efficient here. This is like factory. This is like Ford's Model A line. We're trying to get people in and off the assembly line. You're looking at me like you're the one who would wait for the urinal.
No. I'm looking at you like I love the things that upset you.
They don't upset me. They don't upset me, but I'm sitting there going,
I'm kind of with Amy on this, though. Like, I get
dance.
it. Everything is content, and you know that I live in that exact same world. And this is something, is this a cultural thing, do you think? Because because in the Midwest, that wouldn't happen. In the Midwest, the guys would just instantly go. I mean, I've been on dozens of bus trips like this, where you pull into a gas station, and it is first open hole.
Yeah, I mean, I've been to concerts where you got to go so bad, you're like, oh, there's a sink. I'm going to go in the sink. Oh yeah, I know it's not sanitary, but you just turn on the water, you get on your tiptoes, and you got to go. You got to go. But then the thing that
people
drove me
talk
nuts.
about, like, they're like, man, there's that line, and sometimes people toe the line, and sometimes people cross the line, and you're like, what's the line? And then somebody crosses the line, and you go, there was the line.
The sink might have been the line.
I think you just crossed the line because you just did something that I went, no. No, I'd pee in the toilet. I mean, I'm not saying I haven't peed in the sink.
Okay.
But there were other things that were encouraging me to do such behavior.
Charlie said that's almost as bad as wiping with a bare hand.
It's not as bad as that. Again, there's the line, and that one was here. The wiping with your bare hands over here. There's toeing the line, there's crossing the line, and then there's wiping your ass with your bare hand.
Line.
over the line.
Which I did.
But Charlie, thanks for the reminder.
So then I get out of the toilet. There's still a lot of people in there, right? And I don't know about you, but if you just take a whiz, the hand washes, turn the water on, a little soap, go, get and dry and go.
Yeah.
This guy turns on the water. He does the doctor scrub.
Yeah.
And he was at a urinal.
Okay.
He went for 10 seconds.
Yeah.
Then he backs up, looks at himself in the mirror to watch himself wash his hands.
Yep.
And we're like 30 seconds in here.
Okay.
And then goes back under to do a clean rinse. We're talking about a 45-second to 50-second hand wash. I thought that was just a bit too much. just a bit too much.
Guy might have been a doctor if he's doing.
I don't care
if he's doing but think about it. That's his routine. That's his routine. This is like you wake up at 5 a.m. Well, why do you wake up so early on the weekends? Because my body does that. Well, when I wash, every time he washes his hands, or maybe he's a little bit OCD, or maybe he's a little bit on the spectrum, and this is just, or he's just conscious of. I mean, I wash my hands, but I'm with you. Our buddy Bill Blank has a whole bit about how like my penis has been in my pants all day. It's been protected. My hands have been touching everything. My penis should want to get washed after my hands have touched it. I screwed that up, Bill, and I apologize, but I feel like I got the general gist of it there. But I'm with you. Wash my hands. I'm not going to sit there and scrub them. Wash, a little bit of soap. Yeah, dry them off. Let's get back to the game.
To me, it's a 10-second thing. It's just rinse, quick soap, dry. Go like that, and you're out.
Ross has a good point too. Good question. Did that guy wipe with his hand?
No, because he was at a urinal. I didn't see him poop in the urinal. I've never seen that.
That would be a Wrigley Field spectacle. That's the type of thing. Yeah. The Wrigley Field bathroom stories. They used to have the troughs.
Oh, I love the troughs. I'm a big trough guy. Matter of fact, I think they should bring troughs back. I think troughs.
I can send you a video that will make you never want to see a trough ever in your life.
Let me tell you why. Troughs are efficient because urinals. I mean, you can line up a good 30 people on a wall on a trough.
Yeah.
You may have to get in sideways and then turn, but you can be efficient.
Get in sideways and then turn? Yeah. You're making it uncomfortable at the trough, dude. Pee in the sink.
I'm just saying, troughs, the fact that they got rid of troughs disappoints me. Trough urination is to me, the best. Urinals take up too much. You form a line. It's just, it's not. Give me a trough over a urinal any day of the week.
You go to a dirt track in the state of Iowa. And your chances are you're going to pee in a trough.
Ross says Travis basically thinks we're livestock. No, I don't think we're livestock.
No. There are times when the trough makes sense. I would say Wrigley. Oh.
Was the water not?
No, dude.
Washing
no, I don't. The videos, you've never seen any of those videos from the Wrigley? Oh, dude, they're disgusting. Guys going Pete Rose through them.
There's still troughs at the Unidome? Oh, that's cool.
That's cool. A good point. How do you spell the word that we're talking about?
I would, it's one of two ways, I would guess. TROFF or TROFT. Troughed.
See, I was thinking what Tyler put, TROUGH. Like tough, but with an R thrown in there.
That's through,
Trough.
isn't it?
I don't know. Again, super dumb guy. Just here.
We got an hour in the books, or no,
Got an hour and a half in the books, dude.
We got an hour and a half books. When we come back, guess what? Justin Miller's going to jump on with us. We'll see if he's ever peed in a trough. I wonder if he's ever peed in a trough.
I don't think there's a T on it. I don't think
kind of like Chipotle.
You did it right there.
You
did it right. Since you've been down in Santa Fe, they taught you, didn't they? You went to one and they were like, "Hold on, They pulled you aside, and they're like, "You're a Chipotle guy, aren't you? Come here, Chipotle guy. We're going to talk to you about how this is pronounced."
It's the Rush Radio Show powered by Willis Automotive. We'll be right back.
Doug Burgess, service manager here at Willis Infinity. As we move into 2025, I want to say one final thank you for what 2024 has brought to us. Getting the opportunity to meet many of you customers, and for you, voting us the #1 Google-ranked dealership in the Midwest. Thank you from the bottom of our hearts. And to know why, and to have that Willis experience yourself, stop on in or go online to make your appointment at willisinfinity.com.
The largest selection of German beer in the world? You'll find it at the Hessen House. From Doppelbox to Oktoberfest to Hefeweizens and Dunkels, there's no passport needed for the deliciously different beer and food at the Hessen House. So grab your friends and make it a fun night out. The Hessen House, 4th and Court, Des Moines.
You know, Brian, at Central City, we really do have the best selection around.
I know. High quality stuff you can't find anywhere else.
Whistle Pig Plantation Rum.
Yeah, and over 150 of the best scotches on earth.
And a ton of bitters, mixers, and more.
You know what we are? High class.
Definitely high class, yeah.
Make way for the natty.
Okay, maybe medium class.
Central City Liquors, home of the 10% cash coupon.
And the Wooden Nickel program.
Is something in your attic keeping you up at night? Don't let unwanted guests take over your home. With over 20 years of experience, Bats and Bugs Pest Solutions is Central Iowa's trusted expert in fast, effective, eco-friendly wildlife solutions at a fair price. We safely remove bats, squirrels, raccoons, birds, and more so you can sleep soundly again. For a free estimate, call Bats and Bugs Pest Solutions today at 515-218-3400.
You've dreamed about an absolutely organized garage or closet? See it for yourself at Absolute Garage & Closet's beautiful showroom in Urbandale. See the latest in garage storage, custom closet systems, and epoxy flooring applications up close, and imagine how good it will feel to have your garage, closets, or other spaces absolutely organized. Free consultations, friendly service, and quick project turnarounds, Absolute Garage & Closets is ready to bring peace of mind into your home. Visit Absolute Garage & Closets at 3169 99th Street in Urbandale or at absolutegarage.net.
When it comes to mortgages, no one is more trusted than Gary Presnall at Northwest Bank in Des Moines. With more than 25 years of experience, Gary has been Iowa's top mortgage banker for the past 5 years. With creativity and professionalism, Gary is dedicated to finding unique programs to help you afford the home you deserve. Call Gary at 515-975-6767 or find his profile at nw.bank/Gary Presnall. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
It's Valentine's month and sweet deals are in the air. Hi, I'm Josh Romick, service manager at Willis Lexus. We have our popular Spend More and Save More with up to a 25% discount on services over $1,000. And don't forget about our Lexus Tire Price Match Promise. Find the right tire at the right price. We'll match any advertised price on tires. If you'd like to schedule, give us a call or visit us online at willislexus.com. Have a happy Valentine's Day.
Not too many places hit all the right notes. But when it comes to great atmosphere and delicious scratch-made food, Truman's is the name to know. Game days are for Chiefs fans, but every day is for the food fans. Truman's, get to know us by name.
There's a new spin on casual dining near Drake University. Lucky Horse Beer and Burgers. Craveable faves, flatbreads, delicious burgers, frozen cocktails, and a crazy cool vibe. Get to Lucky Horse Beer and Burgers today.
Don't forget, you can listen to the Rush Radio Show powered by Willis Automotive all day long at therushradio.com. Just click that Listen Live link. You can also start from the beginning by downloading the replay on your favorite podcast channel. Hope everybody went to the Home and Garden Show over the weekend because you got to meet Corey from Bats and Bugs. He's been serving Des Moines for over 25 years. Getting rid of your bats, your pest solutions. If you are a Rush listener, you get 10% off your first service. So when you get a critter, when you get some bugs you need to get rid of, call Corey at Bats and Bugs at 515-218-3400. Say, hey, I heard about you on the Rush, and you're going to get 10% off that very first service.
See, I heard you're not an exterminator. Because he's not an exterminator.
Yeah, you'll impress him by the way that. Say, hey,
yeah. I want to get rid of these things, but I hear you got the way to do it. Here you're my guy.
And Corey does.
You're my bug and pest and critter guy.
You're my boy, Blue. You're my boy, Corey.
It helps to have boys. Promise you that.
It really does. And one of our boys has been for a very long time. He's the host of the Media Row podcast, which focuses on Drake University and the Missouri Valley Conference, is the one, the only Justin Miller. Justin, the first question to you today is not about Drake and its loss to Bradley. Is that have you ever peed in a trough?
Yeah, and it was traumatic. I was like 8 years old.
Traumatic?
Traumatic?
Being 8 years old and you're going to Wrigley Field and you're like, okay, before the game starts, I have to use the bathroom. And then you show up and it does like a 1970s movie where it like all zooms out and you're standing there like, what am I looking at? And then you have to pee and you got it just like kind of right there and you're trying to like not pay attention. It was awful.
What do you mean you got it? When you said you got it right there.
I thought I did a pretty good hand signal. I think being a small child, you're just like, it sucked. No, don't bring them back. And yes, I've seen the videos, Ross and Pete Rose through it. Yeah, it's people doing that.
Listen, I grew up with them, Justin, so I was okay with them, and I do understand the efficiency of them. Those videos are the things that
Yeah, I feel like I have a strong stomach. I can't do those videos. And then Trav being like, bring them back. No.
Bring them back.
It's so Travis, isn't it? It's so Travis. Like, yeah.
You get the stainless steel or the porcelain ceramic troughs, and you got constant water. To me, they're cleaner than a regular urinal. You can get more people in there. It's just an efficient way to pee.
It sounds like you're making your own, though. Like, you're going to do the trough regardless by just peeing in sinks. So
I just pee in the shower. The shower is my trough, so you pee in the shower.
Yeah, peeing in the shower is fine.
Yeah. All right, so Drake had a tough one yesterday. We talked about earlier in the show, but you got 4 left to play. And what is the – so they're a game up. Have you started playing the tiebreaker scenarios in your head when it comes to the number 1 seed and stuff like that? Have you started playing those mental gymnastics yet? Or is it too early?
Drake and Bradley split, so it's kind of early for me. I've never really gotten into that stuff as much. It's more just win your games. But it's a tough stretch for Drake here to finish out the year. They have 2 straight road games, and now Evansville isn't great, but they're playing a lot better than we expected. And playing on the road, no matter what conference, no matter how bad a team is difficult. And then have UNI.
They suck. UNI, Evansville sucks.
Don't
give me coach speak. Don't give me coach speak. They suck.
They do not suck. Suck is Missouri State, who's 1-11, and even they don't suck because they have a really good starting lineup. They just have no depth. But
if you're 1-11, you suck.
There's a difference, though. There's suck where you watch them and you sit there and you go, man, that's a bad team. And then you sit and you watch Missouri State and you're like, man, they kept Bradley at Bradley. They only lost by like 6. They really played Drake really well and only lost by like 5. And you're just sitting there and you watch those games and you go, okay, you have a really strong starting lineup. If they get 1 or 2 players off the bench to actually do something, this is a completely different team.
Guess what?
Do you want to correct some things here? Missouri State 2-14 in the league.
See, they have a win.
Their second loss was against, or the second one was against Evansville.
And Justin, I don't mean to push on you, but I get what you're saying. I do. But guess what? We're at the end of the season. You can say, well, if they start doing this, if they haven't done it by now, they ain't doing it.
Yep. Too late for the zebra to change its stripes here.
That's 100% true. You're right about that. But I mean, it's just tough for the style that Drake plays. Anywhere they play, whoever they play, it's going to be a close game. It's just not in their DNA to truly go out and just blow teams out. I mean, if they win by 8, you feel really comfortable with that win. But UNI, they also have a tough stretch coming up. They have Belmont. They have Murray State, which I heard you guys talking about earlier, all that fiasco. And then they have Bradley, too. So 3 out of their last 4 are against some really tough teams, too. So it's going to be a tough stretch. It's going to make the regular season finale really fun. And, yeah, I mean, Drake right now, I think if they get through UNI, I feel really comfortable about them being in that first spot. But if they lose to UNI, they're kind of sitting in that second spot.
So what was the feeling, Justin? Travis and I were trying to figure out exactly what was lost yesterday outside of just that game, obviously, and that cushion in the valley that you guys were just talking about. Have you had any conversations with anybody else about like that bigger picture? I mean, did anybody in the program feel like they were still nibbling at the chance of an at-large bid? Did it feel like there was anything bigger lost yesterday?
No, I mean, from the sense of like the coaches and players, you didn't get the sense that something bigger was lost. And honestly, from the other media there, from Bradley Media sitting around us and from like Des Moines Register being next to me, no one at this point in the season, it was like, it's just clear that they're going to have to win the whole thing to get in, which I don't agree with. I understand to a point, but then you also look and you have like 12 Big Ten teams projected to get in. And you're like, but watch these 2 teams, 20-plus win teams, playing really good basketball. It's just the nature of being a mid-major.
Yep.
Yeah, you're emotionally attached. In 20 years, you're gonna look back and go, "What was I thinking?" Because if your career starts to grow, you start to cover bigger teams. You kind of go, "Oh, I understood what I was fighting for," but you might not be as emotionally involved. And it's okay to be emotionally involved. It's your team. It's the Media Row podcast. We've never done this when you've been on. Where can people find you? So besides finding you on Twitter and Facebook, if they want to listen to the Media Row podcast, and how often does it come out for you?
It comes out Monday through Friday. I try to get it out by 2:00 every day. And you can get it wherever you find podcasts. So Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeart radio app. Interestingly enough, I didn't even put it on there, but it's on there.
That's where all our downloads, the majority of our downloads are.
Really?
I mean, that majority, like 38% of our downloads are through iHeart.
Yeah,
which is funny, but that's our highest percentage of all of our different platforms.
Apple a close second, but yeah.
It's funny.
Yeah, so Spotify, Apple, iHeart, wherever you get podcasts, and then YouTube. I put it out on YouTube as well. And then I try to do as many social media clips throughout the week as well, too. On my personal Twitter, on @TheMediaRowPod on Twitter. So, yeah, go check us out. Comment, like, subscribe, all that good stuff.
Yeah, got it down to a science. All right, buddy. Always good catching up with you.
That's it? All right.
We
talked about troughs. We talked about
troughs.
Did you watch the hockey game this weekend, Justin? Were you and your buddies glued into the hockey game?
No, I wasn't glued into it.
I'm surprised by that. I thought that was kind of a cultural moment for all of us.
No, I mean, I like hockey, but I've never been
wasn't about hockey.
Into it.
This was about hating Canada. This was about dropping the gloves.
I did like how they fought
Canadians.
2 seconds in. Felt like very Hanson Brothers-esque.
Yeah, exactly.
Which I loved. Yeah. But no, I've never been a huge diehard hockey guy.
You don't have to be. And if they play again, you're going to need to watch it.
Okay.
Just to say you watched the USA kick Canada's ass. All right, buddy. We'll talk to you later on. Justin Miller joining us on the Rush Radio Show. See you, man.
That was it.
That's it. Did you watch the NBA All-Star game last night?
No.
Dude.
No.
This thing is getting to be a joke.
Dude, the fact that Rob Parker tried to say that Caitlin Clark was the thing that had ruined the NBA All-Star game. Talk about like one of the most asinine, clickbaity, grab onto coattails of some story attempt I've ever seen in my life, man. The NBA All-Star game has been one of the most precipitous slides in importance you've ever seen. This thing is an absolute joke. Did you even see what Chris Paul and Victor Wembanyama did?
No, here's the deal, Russ. I got back to the apartment last night. I turned it on, and I'm watching it, and I'm like, there's zero defense. There's zero trying here. I turned it off. I go, you're not giving me a reason to watch.
It's been that for a long time. But they even did, so they thought they would try to do the skills competition, right? So they did this thing where the thing that I think that baseball could probably do, and it's kind of like what hockey does during their All-Star game, right? Where hockey does that skills competition. They had the players running around doing chest passes, shooting three-pointers, and it was like one of those things that you and I have talked about that used to be really cool to watch, where it was like the stars would go on ABC, the Battle of the Stars, Battle of the Network Stars.
Yeah, Battle of the Network Stars.
Yeah, they go out there and they do skills competitions. Victor Wembanyama and Chris Paul decided that they weren't actually going to shoot the three-pointers because it was a timed event, that what they could do would just be do the passes and then as quickly as they could dump the balls off of the rack. It was ridiculous.
Now, I did put this out there over the weekend, something that can get people excited. Did you see, and I put this out there, I think sports needs more of this. I'm not saying you have to do it in every sport. Do you see where Tyreek Hill and Noah Lyles are going to have agreed to race? Remember before the Olympics, Tyreek Hill was like, I'll race Noah Lyles. And Noah Lyles like, all right, I'll beat your ass. And now they've agreed to race, which I think draws interest from non-sports fans to – I think this is good for track and field. Track and field has a hard time getting over the hump when it comes to non-Olympic years. I like – you don't like this? I know you think it's gimmicky, but I like the fact –
very much gimmicky, but I like it. I'm saying it probably won't have the impact. Maybe it will because it's NFL and it's Tyreek Hill. I mean, speaking of kind of grabbing on to some storylines here, you're going to get attention for it because it's Tyreek.
Yeah, I like seeing athletes go against athletes. I like where you got just two different skill sets going. Okay, let's see it, and I'm excited to see it. I wish there was other avenues to see where we could do this with other professional athletes that are so gifted that they could compete in different aspects.
They've always talked about how LeBron would be the best, would be a great tight end or would be a great soccer player.
Yeah.
If he's so tall and athletic, and again, at his peak. Who's an athlete that it would be fun to see play another sport? Like, would Aaron Judge playing tight end? Or Aaron Judge trying to play in the NBA? He's one of the few guys that's actually tall enough to be able to do that.
True. I mean, we watched Deion play baseball and football. We watched Bo Jackson do the same thing, but it's not quite the same. And I look at it kind of a one-on-one type situation is what I like to see. I like to see great athletes from one sport go against great athletes from a different sport.
Dude, we're missing two easy ones here. In fact, two really good ones. Russell Wilson was a fantastic baseball player.
True.
Isn't it Kyler Murray that got drafted by the A's?
Yes. Huh. So, and by the way, Jake Paul fighting UFC fighters is crossover.
I don't care about that. And in fact, at this point, I consider him more of a fighter than, that's not the same. That's not the same. We're talking about professional athletes in one arena being a professional athlete in another arena or competing with those athletes in another's. We've talked about this before, dude. Do you remember that show Pros versus Joes?
Oh, yeah.
I loved that show.
in my old life, when I was on television, there was a guy from Omaha that competed in it, and I had him on my Sunday night show. And he got knocked out pretty quick, but I mean, you're putting just average Joes against really high-end athletes, and you realize, oh, you're just a Joe. There's a difference between a Joe and a pro.
Big time. And they would take the pros were guys that weren't even at the top of their game anymore. It was guys that were retired and were willing to show up at a studio on a Wednesday afternoon.
It's the Rush Radio Show, powered by Willis Automotive at therushradio.com. We're going to take our final break. We'll come back. We'll wrap up today's show on the Rush Radio Show at therushradio.com.
Oh, boy. That's right, Brian. It's tailgate season, and Central City's got everything a good tailgate needs.
We have all the beer,
All the good party drinks.
And don't forget the White Claw.
hot dogs, brats, and chips.
Kegs and eggs.
And if you fill up your cooler with beer from Central City, we'll throw in the ice for free. By the way, what team is this supposed to represent?
All the teams, Brian. All the teams. I don't discriminate. Tailgate time.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Central City Liquors, home of the 10% cash coupon.
You've dreamed about an absolutely organized garage or closet? See it for yourself at Absolute Garage and Closet's beautiful showroom in Urbandale. See the latest in garage storage, custom closet systems, and epoxy flooring applications up close, and imagine how good it will feel to have your garage, closets, or other spaces absolutely organized. Free consultations, friendly service, and quick project turnarounds, Absolute Garage and Closets is ready to bring peace of mind into your home. Visit Absolute Garage and Closets at 3169 99th Street in Urbandale or at absolutegarage.net.
Is something in your attic keeping you up at night? Don't let unwanted guests take over your home. With over 20 years of experience, Bats and Bugs Pest Solutions is Central Iowa's trusted expert in fast, effective, eco-friendly wildlife solutions at a fair price. We safely remove bats, squirrels, raccoons, birds, and more so you can sleep soundly again. For a free estimate, call Bats and Bugs Pest Solutions today at 515-218-3400.
Hey, I'm Mason out here at Mini Des Moines, one of the motor advisors. Currently this month, Love is in the Air. We are doing a $1,000 mini loyalty on Countryman, $750 on all other models excluding the BEV. Also, we are doing a $500 Conquest cash on select models, so you do get a benefit even if you're not a Mini owner. So for more information, stop at our showroom. Come see me. We're happy to get that information going. Or see us on our Mini website, miniofdesmoines.com.
When it comes to mortgages, no one is more trusted than Gary Presnall at Northwest Bank in Des Moines, Iowa's top mortgage banker for the past 5 years. Call Gary at 515-975-6767 or find his profile at nw.bank. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Believe it or not, spring is coming. When it does, be absolutely organized with custom garage or closet systems from Absolute Garage and Closets. Turn a winter mess into a spring success at our showroom in Urbandale or visit absolutegarage.net.
Do you have a pest problem? With over 20 years of experience, Bats and Bugs Pest Solutions is Central Iowa's local expert in fast, effective, eco-friendly pest solutions at a fair price for your home or business. Call us today at 515-218-3400.
You know, Brian, at Central City, we really do have the best selection around.
I know, high quality stuff you can't find anywhere else.
Whistle Pig Plantation Rum.
Yeah, and over 150 of the best scotches on earth.
And a ton of bitters, mixers, and more.
You know what we are? High class.
Definitely high class, yeah.
Make way for the natty.
Okay, maybe medium class.
Central City Liquors, home of the 10% cash coupon.
And the Wooden Nickel program.
With over 260 beers on tap, El Bait Shop isn't just another craft beer bar. It's the best. Beer lovers know El Bait Shop, 200 Southwest 2nd, Des Moines.
Missing a quality home-cooked meal? You know, the kind Mom used to make? Lucky for you, we found her recipe book. Welcome to the High Life. Welcome to the Champagne of Bars.
All right, welcome back to the Rush Radio Show, powered by Willis Automotive. By the way, the month of February is still going on. We got a little bit of time left in February. Ross, isn't the Willis Nissan deal for the tires going on all month long?
Yes.
Go down to
buy 3 tires, get the 4th tire for $1 at the Willis Nissan. Select brands, select tires only, obviously, with that deal. But stop and see the crew down there and tell them that you heard about them on The Rush and thank them for being big sponsors of our program here. And Travis, I want to tell you, man, this weekend I run into people all the time that are thanking me for this and telling me how much they're enjoying this, and I want to pass those along to you so you feel that love as well also, because it's been really cool to when people come up and they're like, even you're walking by a guy and he's like, hey man, listen to the show, big fan. Oh, that means the world. Thank you so much, and please tell your friends.
Yes, please. People ask all the time, what can we do to help?
Support our sponsors. Yeah.
Yes. So go buy a car at Willis. Get your bugs and bats taken care of from
Bats and Bugs.
Bats and Bugs.
Yeah.
Just
Central
watch the
City.
commercials, go, okay.
all of our places.
Yeah.
Support those places when you can, as often as you can, and tell your friends about it. And then we'll hopefully tell them to support our sponsors as well.
Because it's interesting. Even I think earlier this week, somebody popped up, hey, I'm glad to see you guys are doing. I mean, we're arrogant enough, we're narcissistic enough to go, well, people just found us, on January 27th, and we kicked this thing off. It's still, you got to spread the word. You got to spread the word, because we're here each and every day. And your boss, Mark Charter, not your boss, your broker, Mark Charter, said it best. He goes, he's listening now more than he ever has, because there's so many different ways. Yeah. Obviously, the live version, we want you to listen live. But you can listen live all day long on the replay. You can find the podcast, the YouTube thing. It's not hard to find the show.
Austin says he's scheduled with Corey for an inspection tomorrow. Austin, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. That's awesome.
That is so cool. That's the kind of support, because this is organic. We're learning as we go. We're not pros at this aspect of it. But it's been a lot of fun.
What's your plan for? Go ahead. Sorry. Go ahead.
No, I do need to get this out, because it was about 10 months ago when I talked about this. But there's some people that make an impression on your life. And Nebraska play-by-play guy Greg Sharp passed away over the weekend. He had pancreatic cancer. Greg was a friend of mine, and I was fortunate enough to work with Greg. Ross, you remember back in the day when Iowa State used to have like multiple radio stations that did games, right? They didn't have a network. Well, Greg was a Kansas State grad. He took over for Mitch Holtis after Mitch left Kansas State to go to the Chiefs full time, and they were still multiple stations. So when they did the network thing, he was forced out of Kansas State. So while he was on the beach, he came and did Creighton games with me. So he was my color guy when I was doing Creighton games on television, and then he got the Nebraska job in 2007. There are people in this business who aren't very nice or egotistical. That wasn't Greg Sharp. He was a rock solid dude and a great broadcaster and a mentor to many. And so when somebody passes away at 60, 61 from pancreatic cancer, it's just sad. I just wanted to acknowledge him, because we worked together, had an impact on my life, and spent many games in Normal, Illinois, doing like Illinois State Creighton games. So
Normal.
Yeah, nothing normal about Normal.
Yeah, I've been to Normal. You're right, nothing normal. Travis, you're right, man. When you have somebody at work, hopefully everybody, you're one of these people for me in my life. When you have people that make your job fun, that's gold. Yep. That is worth so much, man. When you look forward to showing up to get paid for something. Is you can't wait to hang out with this person, and they just make it easy and fun and light. And there is something about that energy. Again, that's what I feel with you. I was lucky to have that with Chris for all those years, where you wake up and you are excited to get to go to work. Jan Michelson, I loved that man. And to wake up every morning and be like, man, I get to go hang out with my buddy. And they're going to pay me to go have a conversation with my friend. Hell yeah. Winning. And that's cool that you had that and you remember that. And I know you're not alone in that feeling. And I remember when this happened with Greg, and you talked about what he kind of meant to your life. And we had a few different people reach out and say that kind of impacted them, because when you're dealing with something like that, you find a community. And even when you share it, say, hey, my friend is going through this. You have people reach out that say, oh, man, I've been through that. My friends have been through that. So,
yeah, my day consists of packing and then getting on a plane, and I'll be back in town later tonight. And then I'll have good lighting, my regular microphone, and music and a phone back for tomorrow's show. So things will be back to normal tomorrow.
Music things. So we have a lot of people reaching out saying, hey, I want to try to get you guys some music. You can email us at either Travis at go ahead.
Travis at therushradio.com or Ross at therushradio.com.
Yep. Send us an MP3 of the music, no lyrics preferably.
Yes, keep the lyrics off if you can. All right, as we were telling you how to find us, all you have to do is follow us on these places. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, give this video a like, and set your notifications. Follow us on X at Rush Mornings, like the Facebook page, and now you can follow us on Instagram. For Ross Peterson, I'm Travis Justice. Give me some music, Ross. Just that little hippie,
here we go.
hippie music.
Got you some. Here we go.
We're back tomorrow at 6 a.m. Enjoy. We'll have it back tomorrow. I promise. Back tomorrow. It's the Rush Radio Show powered by Willis Automotive.